Hello and welcome to my channel on Ancient and Chinese Astrology. I am professional astrologer Zagata from the website 100%astrology.com, and I would like to make a video in which I will refute English astrologer Deborah Houlding claim that whole sign houses was not used by the ancient astrologers, and that basically it's not even a system, that it could be construed as some sort of method that was popularized by Project Hindsight in the early 1990s. This is a rather bombastic claim that she will regret making, because as I will show, there's so much proof, so many charts, that so many traditions in so many languages, that it either betrays basic ignorance or some sort of hidden agenda that's inadmissible for in the 21st century, and someone having the reputation of a respected internationally astrologer, etc., etc. So this is my YouTube channel, Ancient in Chinese Astrology, and let's see, have I in my I did one of my first videos was about a brief history of ancient astrology, and also in the video about the zodiac there were some comments also about the house systems, but for those that are interested. But this video will do by itself. In fact, I'm the reason I'm doing this is the lecture that she gave, and also 1 hour long I listened to it last night, and also Chris Brennan, American astrologer Chris Brennan, that one of the authorities on Hellenistic astrology. He 2 days ago he did take a look, 6 hours and 43 minutes about Deborah Houlding and her denialism, and I listened to the whole video. I even made screenshots, and I also downloaded the articles. Most of them I knew, but some of them I didn't. I'm very grateful to Chris Brennan for providing this information. Obviously I have his book. I've been quoting from it in my videos about the zodiac and about the history of ancient astrology, etc. And so let me also say that I don't know Chris Brennan personally, I don't know Deborah Houlding personally, etc. I'm a member of her Skyscript forum. I've been a member for 10 years, I think. And so this is not I don't have any beef with the person per se, but what I have a big problem with is someone misrepresenting and in fact attacking the tradition and claiming to be a traditionalist herself. This is a significant problem, and as Brennan pointed out, this creates a risk of dividing our community, even the traditional community, which is rather small. Fortunately, it's been growing, but it's still too small. Let me also thank my friend Dimitar Kojuharov, one of the world's top scholars on ancient astrology. He's not that famous, but his knowledge is I don't know, I consider him probably top 3 or top 5. Here is his website. I've quoted him. He has a course on natal astrology in Bulgarian, and here is his photo. He's also a member of Deborah Houlding's forum, and he's in touch with many scholars. He is in touch with Ben Dykes. He knows many things that even Ben Dykes doesn't know. He knows where manuscripts are located of ancient texts, and etc., etc. And let's see what else. So basically, yeah, I'm going to destroy the argument that Deborah Houlding made, that whole sign houses did not exist and were not used by ancient astrologers. And let me say that I'm not a scholar. I'm a professional astrologer. I work with clients daily. I have to predict, I have to perform. I also have international students of my courses. So these things, such bold statements, they should be picked apart, because again, we're dealing with texts, not with. So let me also give this quote by Girolamo Cardano, the famous 16th century Italian astrologer. He that would truly promote art must insist as much on the confutation of false opinions delivered by others as in the declaration of truth. Again, Cardano, as I've written here, extremely famous Italian 16th century Italian astrologer, one of the best. He was also a doctor. He saved more than 100 people that were written off by physicians, and he was also one of the best mathematicians, etc., etc. So again, one of the reasons I'm doing this is, again, because I want to promote ancient astrology, and this is, again, doing ancient and Chinese astrology also. And what shall I start with? Well, let's say, first of all, speaking of authorities, I mentioned Dimitar Kojuharov. Let me mention also Rumen Kolev. Rumen Kolev is also a famous Bulgarian astrologer, translator, researcher, author, etc., etc. He knows ancient Greek and Latin, and he started studying Arabic, and etc., etc. And of course, one of the biggest authorities in the world today is Hungarian linguist, philologist Levente Laszlo, with his Khosrow project. I'm a member, I'm a patron, as you see, and I've been urging people. I wrote an article on my website as soon as I heard about this project, that urging astrologers to support this remarkable scholar, and that this is basically Project Hindsight Part 2, after the unfortunate death of Robert Schmidt and Robert Zoller, etc., who left the project, etc. But so Levente Laszlo himself, he knows obviously ancient Greek. He translates from ancient Greek, as you see here, and he translates also from. He also knows Latin, as far as I know, and he wrote a very, very useful article about Vetias Valens, a 10-page article. Again, this man knows ancient Greek. He's not using secondary or tertiary sources, and he showed that what Valens was using, he was using whole sign houses, and the quadrant houses, book 3, chapter 1 was, again, these porphyry divisions. They were for the length of life topic. And so okay, so let's see. Well, let me show you some sources, because I also prepared, obviously, for this video. I want to quote sources. Again, it's not. There is also there could be some personal preferences, but this, again, with having a historical, making historical arguments, and so let's always refer to sources. So the first, anyway, that's not the first one. The first one is this one, because it's one of the oldest books, Dorotheus of Sidon. This is the 2017 edition, translated by Ben Dykes. A must-have book. All these books are must-have for serious students of ancient astrology. I always, recommend them in my website, in my videos, in my courses, etc. So this is Hephaestus of Thebes, again, 4th century Hellenistic astrologer. Also, this was translated by Eduardo Gramaglia from ancient Greek, edited by Ben Dykes. This is book 3. Book 1 and 2 were translated by Robert Schmidt. Now, let me say, of course, Ptolemy, but Chris Brennan he showed this in his very long, extremely long, but very useful video about the whole sign house denialism. He shared a 50-page article from his book about whole sign houses, and he also I believe 8 or 9 years ago, he wrote a very useful article about Claudius Ptolemy. He went over the key passages and showed that Ptolemy was also, again, when basically Ptolemy did not use even houses, he was using a very particular method of delineation. But anyhow, Ptolemy also, Chris Brennan showed this article, and Robert Schmidt also. I'm not going to repeat all the arguments. I'm just saying that what I mean is, I'm not giving Claudius Ptolemy here because Chris Brennan and Robert Schmidt and others have shown that Ptolemy was using also. Again, he's using names such as the evil spirit, the 12th sign, the good fortune, etc., etc. It's but not just Ptolemy. So this is why I have not shown Ptolemy. We have a great translation. Robert Schmidt is the best, but We have here the translation in Bulgarian of Ptolemy that's done from French, by a French astronomer and astrologer. I've shown this book in my Bulgarian channel. Very high quality. I've compared Robert Schmidt and Robbins' translation with this, with the French one into Bulgarian. It's excellent. Anyhow, so moving on, this is Persian nativities. Mashallah and Tabu Liao-Kayat, 8th century astrologers, 9th century, very famous. Again, Ben Dykes, he later on he discovered actually that this Mashallah is not the author, it's Andrusar. Andrusar, I believe it was in the 6th. He lived in the 6th century, also very famous astrologer, but very little of him has survived. So this is the back of the book. This is Persian Nativities, book 2, Umar al-Tabari, again 9th century astrologer, and Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr, he started using quadrant houses much more, basically almost exclusively. But Umar al-Tabari, as you will see, again I will show actual pages and screenshots. This is a unique book, and in fact one of the reasons I'm making this video, because Chris Brennan, his video, he said that other astrologers and scholars have reached out to him and given other sources in other languages that predate Project Hindsight. And this is one book that, again, so this author, this is his pen name, Valdemar Bezisar. This is in my native Bulgarian. An amazing astrologer. I believe I'm the only one. Again, thanks to Dimitar Kojuharov, who gave me information about this and who also urged me to buy the books of this remarkable astrologer. He was Russian. I will provide a link in the description. Again, basically, this guy was doing ancient astrology in the 1950s, in the 1960s. You know, decades before Giuseppe Bezza in Italy, or Project Hindsight, or Robert Zoller, etc., etc. And this is his natal chart, as you see. In fact, he was born in 1897. He was a Russian aristocrat. He was forced to flee after the Zionists, the so-called communists, took over. But anyhow, this guy was decades and decades ahead. And he, in this book, take a look at how many astrologers he's quoting in his in his books. He wrote about 30 books. Most of them were on ancient astrology, but some were on Indian astrology. Take a look. How many again, 1960s, folks. Take a look. And yes, as you see, impressive list. He also knew some languages as well. And so let's see. So this is the book. It's called The Special Way of Reading or Interpreting the Horoscope. Now it was published in 1993, but he himself finished it in 1964. And you have to realize that Bulgaria was under the control of the Soviet Union, and astrology was, astrology was not a profession, was not a legally recognized profession. On the contrary, so astrologers were. This knowledge was suppressed. This was, decades before the internet, so it was very hard, very difficult to find books and ephemeris and tables of houses, etc., etc. So, yeah. So the book itself, it says 1993, but again, as I will show you 2 pages from the book. He says he completed it in 1964, so it was privately circulated, as were his other books. Let's see. Yes, this is and what's special about this book is that this book is actually he's translating sorry, not translating, but yeah, he is translating from this guy, Heinrich Rantzau. Now, those of you, I should have said that for those that don't know, I'm also a student of Robert Zoller's courses, and Robert Zoller, he did a paper on this Ransau guy, 16th century, as you see, Danish count. And he had a library of 7,000 volumes. This is from James Holden's book, History of a Biographical Dictionary of Western Astrologers. This is the heaviest book that I have. It's over 2 kilograms. It's like 2,147 grams it weighs. And this is just a short from, as you see, page 602 about Ransau. The reason I'm showing is because many, again, many astrologers may not even have heard of him because we don't have translated his translated works as far as I know. But the point is that Gruzinev, he says that in the library of, let me show you here, in the so this book, the Green Book, is this Green Book was found by Heinrich Rantzau, who was a count of Schleswig-Holstein in the 16th century. And so this book, the Green Book, is a treatise of Andrusar ibn Zabi al-Farukh, an Arabic astrologer. And I will quote later from it, translate later from it from my native Bulgarian. And again, let's see, biographical dictionary. Yes, this is also a good book. Lucas Gavrikos, translated by Rumen Kolev from Latin. It's not that pertinent to the whole sign house issue, but it is rather useful because very few astrologers, that I'm not even sure how many astrologers know that we have the chart of the election of Constantinople, and this guy preserved it from the year 330 for the founding of Constantinople. I will show the chart. Even though Gavrikov himself was using obviously quadrant houses in the 16th century, as Rumen Kolev shows. Let's see. So these are, let's see. Yeah, I missed Sau, obviously, hugely important author. Part of Ben Dykes' necessary course materials for his course on natal astrology that he announced. So Sau ibn Bishr, 9th century astrologer writing in Arabic. Again, very thick book, a must-have book. That I also have, obviously. So let's see. So let's get started. Let's get started with the proof. So I will start with Dorotheus. Again, as you see, Dorotheus, page 86, translated by Ben Dykes, 2017. The fourth stake. Look at the fourth stake. Explicitly, the fourth stake. Again. Not talking even about the fourth sign, the fourth stake, or the fourth house, the fourth stake. Page 86. Next, again, Dorotheus, again, Ben Dykes, page 107. Second place. Lord of the Ascendant, the Lord of the Midheaven, the Lord of the House of Assets, and it is the second place from the Ascendant. The second place. Not the second house or quadrant or any degrees whatsoever. No. Again, as Chris Brennan showed in his audio, Deborah Houlding knows about this, and this is it's these are dirty tricks, because she knows about it. She published Dorotheus with the diamond charts, and it's pretty clear that Dorotheus is using whole sign houses again. But here for the others to see. Let's see, Hephaestio, book 3, page 36. Again, brief screenshots from, because obviously these are copyrighted works, but just brief using them is fair use. This is not anything commercial in this. So, Hephaestio, book 3, page 36. In every inception, one must watch that the Lord of the hour marker does not fall in the 8th place, nor in its diameter, the second place, called livelihood, etc., etc. Page 36, again, show the book. Here is the screenshot. Let's see what else. Let's start with Avandarzagar. Again, it's written mashallah, but it's not, as Ben Dykes discovered. On the 8th, as you see, page 152, Persian Nativities, volume 1, on the 8th house. Therefore, concerning the kind of death and its cause and place, even whether it's public or hidden, whether on a journey or in bed, etc. Indeed, look at the 8th lodging place, and the kind and nature of its lord, and what place the lord holds onto, etc. Secondly, the lord of the 8th, whether it would be regarding the 8th itself. Again, whole sign aspects. Regard, whether the lord is configured to. Let's see, Umar. So I give you our Narzagar. Abu Ali, as you see, page 261, Persian Nativities, book 1. Look at the second house from the ascendant. Then look even at the Lord of the second sign. The Lord of the second sign. The Lord of the second place. Again, page 261. Let's see. Then Abu Ali, page 265, same book, Brother's Fortune, and the third sign from the ascendant. Which, if the third sign again from the ascendant were a sign, etc., etc., third place, ancient astrologers would also say. Abu Ali, sixth place, sixth house, for the status of slave, subordinates. Looked at the sixth sign in its lord. Again, and if moreover either one of the benefics or the malefics were in the sixth place. Again, it's so equivocal, so unambiguous that it's clear as water. I mean, it's let's see. And again, this James Holden translated Abu Ali Koyat in 1987 or 1988. Again, if someone considers themselves an ancient astrologer or even traditional astrologer, the late tradition, they should be buying these books. And again, these are in English. I mean, these are in Houlding's native language. So no question whatsoever, as you see. Let's see. Andrusar on the 8th house. I showed you this. Umar, the 5th place. Persian Activities, book 2, page 62. As you see, children. If you wanted to look at the 5th sign in its lord. The 5th sign. Yeah, no ambiguity whatsoever. Umar, 9th century astrologer, very, very famous astrologer. 8th, 9th century, he took part in the election of Baghdad. I have one of the longest articles on the internet about the electional chart of Baghdad, 762. Let's see, Umar, the 9th place, travel, concerning foreign travel, changing from place. Look at the 9th sign. The 9th sign. Again, crystal clear. There's no let's see, I showed you this. Sao, page 637 on the causes of death. Look at that from the 8th place from the ascendant and know what is the essence of the 8th sign. There is a footnote here by Ben Dykes. He says that manuscript wrote 5th and he changed it to 8 because obviously the topic is death, the 8th place, the 8th sign, the 8th place. Sao, again, a very influential astrologer. Again, Sao, as you see here, Astrology of Sao, page 742, on enemies, the 12th place. In the matter of enemies, look at the 12th sign. Again, Ptolemy, Valens, Dorotheus, Sao and Umar, and there are so many that let's see, Sao. Now this is on questions. This is page 98, same book. The book is over 700 or 800 pages long. So page 98, the second sign, and the sign of and at the sign of assets in its lord. The sign of assets, the second sign. All the 12 houses are the second sign, the third sign, the fourth sign, the fifth sign, like that. This is how Sao names them and uses them. Again, third place, same book, page 100 in Sao, translated by Dykes, the third sign, concerning a brother. Then look at the third sign, which is the sign of siblings. I don't know how much more clear can it get. It's again, very, very basic knowledge. Again, Sao, and again, I should Deborah Houlding should know this. If she is a traditional astrologer, she should know that Guido Bonatti was influenced by Sao, and Bonatti, 13th century Italian astrologer, quotes Sao and Bisher and many others, and Alcabisi, etc., etc., and that Lily quotes Bonatti. Lily had access to Bonatti. So again, Sao, sixth sign. If you're asked about a sick person, etc., the midheaven indicates the sick. The seventh sign indicates the fourth sign indicates medicine. This is about the chapter about the sixth house about illness, but this is the most ancient approach where they use the four sticks, the four angular zodiac or images or signs for the first, the fourth, the seventh, the 10th, irregardless of the axial degrees of the quadrant midheaven. Okay, I think yes. Let's see. So let me translate. Let me translate from Bulgarian about from the Green Book, the special way of interpreting the chart, the horoscope, which again this treatise from this Arabic astrologer Andrusar ibn Zabi al Farukh. So this is how it starts, as you see. Again, according to the treatise of Andrusar ibn Zabi al Farukh, found and translated this by Heinrich Rantzau, Count of Schleswig-Holstein, with commentaries by Valdemar Bezisar, and addition and the opinions of various ancient and medieval astrologers have been added as well. And just this that I have underlined. So this is point 1, section A. From the start, the signs of the zodiacs were domiciles. At the beginning, the first house was that sign where the rising point of the ecliptic, horoscopus or ascendant, and the next houses were found subsequently in the following signs of the zodiac. Whole sign houses. Again, at the beginning, the signs of the zodiacs were domiciles, homes, domiciles, oikos in Greek, etc. And so, and this is, and then he goes on to explain the various. Again, this is not, but he also says that because again, the purpose of my video is not to, it's just to show that whole sign houses is was the main system and was etc to refute her argument. But again, he goes on to explain here that the domification, the house system, according to point A, in other words, this here, the whole sign houses, it remained in power in many countries until now. In the Western in brackets school, Claudius Ptolemy adhered to it, was observing it. Later, in the aspiration to add more mathematics, so to say, to astrology, they began to divide the distance between the midheaven and the ascendant in 3 parts, and to get the intermediate house cusps, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, and the distance, etc. And he goes on the next page to explain the various house systems, such as the equal house system, the Alcabitius house system, the Campanus house system, the Regiomontanus house system, the Placidus Titi house system, the Moraine Villefranche, what he used, etc. I'm not going to deal with this, but I will show you here again. This is on the second page, next page rather, and he says, the author, there are many different opinions about erecting a horoscope. That is especially characteristic of our times. Now, practically every author comes up with more or fewer smart ways of erecting a horoscope, and he explains other things. And this sentence is key here. But Andrusar, whose treatise is presented below, adheres to or sticks to what was said in point 1a. In other words, again, point 1a is whole sign houses. Again, at the beginning, the signs of the zodiacs were domiciles, and the beginning was the first house, the sign where the rising point of the ecliptic was placed, horoscopus or ascendant, and the next houses were found following the order of the signs of the zodiac. Again, Andrusar, this ancient Arabic astrologer, and as you see here, he also says that here is a short history of how the knowledge of the houses from ancient times to current times has evolved. The year, as you see, 1547. So again, this is in Bulgarian. Very few astrologers outside of Bulgaria know about this book. And again, this book was let me also show you something else. That the conclusion of this book. This is on page 315. It says that in the book of Valdemar Bezisar there is material for interpreting the horoscope according to general rules. The author of the book, in other words, this Russian astrologer who lived in Bulgaria in the 20th century, recommends the system of domification of the ancient astrologers. Sign house, that is, after determining the ascending point, the sign in which it is placed is the first house. The second sign is the second house, etc. And then he goes on to explain about predictions, about perfections, primary directions, solar revolutions, transits, etc., etc. Again, 1960s, folks, 1964. And let me also show you, here, this is what he says. With this, my book is complete. 9:45, 22nd of December, 1964, Sofia, the capital of Bulgaria. The moon in conjunction with Venus in the radix in the horoscope of Valdemar Bezisar. 1964, folks. Let's see. Sources. I already showed you the sources. Yes, let me show you. So this is the photo of my video refuting Deborah Houlding's claim that whole sign houses were not used by ancient astrologers. Now this is the book that I just quoted and translated for you. Now this is remarkable. Again, all credit to my friend Dimitar Kojuharov, this world famous scholar astrologer. He found the only surviving Persian horoscope, and he even, what's funny is that he even published this at Deborah Houlding's forum. Dimitar, he goes by AstroArt as his website, as I showed you, AstroArt, and he published this in 2014, the only surviving horoscope. I will provide links in the description. But again, he spent a lot of money trying to find a translator from this ancient language who would be able to translate what this thing means. You see. And again, you can, I will link in the description, I will provide a link in the description, but what he told me is that they use the Sassanian horoscope. Doesn't matter, this is not a zodiac video. What matters is that they used whole sign houses. They did not even bother to indicate the house cusps. And again, please stop for a moment and consider this. Being in the role, in the shoes of the imperial astrologer, having to elect a chart, do you think that they would not take every precaution? Do you think that they would dare to to skip crucial information and not show it into the chart? Again, this is the original. And for those that wonder how this looks like, well, this is how it looks like. This is the election, but let me explain that they use the North Indian. I mean, they put the ascendant here, so with North Indian format, but like this with this structure. So this is closer. This is closer. So this is how it looks like. Again, this is the ascendant. This is the second, the third, the fourth, etc. So this is the chart. Again, whole sign houses. There is no data here. This is with the software Planet Dance, the Persian coronation, but. This is again, this is with the Hellenistic, and also this type of wheel is also used in India, by the way. It's called Oriya. This is the chart of the, again, whole sign houses, of the election of the Khosrow I, King of Kings, 6th century, the year 531 in Iran, Persia. So again, the only surviving horoscope, and as you see yourselves, whole sign houses. Again, imperial, not street astrologer or someone, I don't know, etc. Imperial, friends, imperial astrologers. Let's see. Yes, this is the original. He has provided the sources as a true scholar, etc., etc. Dimitar Kojuharov. All credit to him, and thanks again. He was the one that pointed my attention to Deborah Houlding's video. Let's see. What else? Well, how long am I? Alright, so let's see. Well, yes, also Deborah Houlding, she made this, she was praising Robert Zoller, rightfully so, of course, but she was downplaying the role of in the qualifications of Robert Hand and Robert Schmidt, but that's not the point. The point is that I want to show you more about my teacher Robert Zoller, how he practiced. And again, anyone who is, again, this is not targeting professional astrologers because they would know or they should know. But let me show you a quote by Robert Zoller himself, and this quote is, as you see from his diploma course, lesson 6, page 9. Again, we will be using both the Alphabetius and whole sign house systems together at the same time. And let's see, should I show you? Not breaking. I will just show you I took the effort and went over his course again, and I'm going to show you some. I'm not gonna show you the passages, but just some screenshots that I took. I mean, not the screenshots, but the titles. And again, anyone, I've given if you have the course yourself, you can check it and obviously confirm what I'm the veracity of what I'm saying. But again, lesson 2, page 5, whole sign houses, whole sign houses, whole sign houses. As you see, the lesson and the page. This is from the diploma course, the second his advanced course. Again, this is lesson 6, page 9. We'll be using both together at the same time. He also says here, whole sign houses are perhaps the oldest system of houses in astrology. Lesson 9, Bonacci suggests using whole sign houses in his treatise on the houses. Lesson 10, for the length of life, he gives a chart of a client who had Mars, who had Aries ascendant, and obviously Scorpio is the 8th and domicile place. But again, Zoller, he was predominantly using quadrant houses, but whole sign houses also, but much more so quadrant houses. Let's call a spade. But the point is that in this case, Mars was in Virgo, which is the 6th from Aries, and is the lord of the 8th in the 6th. But by quadrant houses, by Alphabetius, it was in the 5th. This man, he died from the medical care he received. And as Zoller points out, this is because Mars is in the 6th sign from the ascendant, even though it's in the 5th quadrant house. Another example where the native has many planets in the stakes, in other words, in angular zodiac, in angular signs, but they are retreating, as we ancient astrologers say. In other words, they are catered by quadrant houses. And yet, this is an example where the whole sign house system is not that accurate because the native is a drug addict, etc., etc. But again, with our current knowledge, we would know that we would not count them necessarily. We call them retreating. Again, this knowledge did not exist back in in Zoller's course like 20 years ago. Next, this is actually Dimitar Kojurhov's chart. He did not name it, but this is public knowledge. This chart, he was delineating her profession. And she has, again, you look up Dimitar Kojurhov's natal chart in astro.com. She has Leo ascendant with Mercury and the Sun in the ascendant zodiac in the first place, but they are retreating. So they're in the 12th by quadrant. And yet, Mercury is her professional significator and the native is a professional astrologer. Again, because it's in the first whole sign house. Whereas a modern astrologer or Deborah Houlding would consider Mercury to be in the 12th, and this planet would not take place, would not start with it for the profession. Would start with Venus or Mars that are in the 2nd place in Dimitar's chart. Anyhow, next, another case where the native has exalted Taurus ascendant and exalted Sun in Aries in the 12th place, 12th sign from the ascendant, but it's in the 11th by quadrant. And the native was thinking that he was dealing with powerful friends, but he was ruined by his secret enemies. His business was destroyed, he died. Again, lesson 15, page 23, whole sign houses or equal houses, also equal houses from a lot. Robert Zoller called them Arabic parts. This is the lesson on Arabic parts. Again, a lot of fortune, a lot of spirit, etc., etc. Whole sign houses or equal houses. Again, Robert Zoller himself. Lesson 17, page 8, that with whole sign houses, the entry of a transiting planet in the house is also its entrance into the sign. Again, Dorotheus, Valens, many others. Ptolemy, Robert Zoller, lesson 17, page 12. Robert Zoller likes quadrant houses and considers them a good evolution or development of medieval astrology, as he calls it. Again, this is lesson 17, page 15, using whole sign house transits from the natal moon's placement and meaning to derive information. Again, and you know, if for those that would say that Robert Zoller was not, you know, advocating whole sign houses, again, there is the proof. Let's see. And the last one, I mean, there are others, but I've picked the most powerful ones, I should say, the strongest ones. So again, lesson 18, page 9, Profections by Sign from Bonatti. Again, Robert Zoller translated several treatises from Bonatti, which later Ben Dykes also translated. In fact, Ben Dykes translated the whole Bonatti. Let's see. Yes, also Deborah Houlding, she tried to sidestep when she was asked in her lecture about Indian astrology or Chinese astrology. She was praising them, but she tried to sidestep the issue, saying, you know, she's not an authority on the matter, etc., etc. That's fine. But what you're not taught, or what you don't know, is that, or what she doesn't want you to know, is that both in Indian and Chinese astrology, whole sign houses are used. And in fact, of course, this doesn't. In the case of Indian astrology, they also have Porphyry or Shripati, and they also have, you know, Bhava-Chalit houses. But again, the main house overwhelmingly is whole sign houses. Very, very easily verified. I mean, look at James Bracha, although he advocates both whole sign and this Bhava-Chalit. Look at Hardefall, look at James Kelleher, look at Simon Chukoysky, many astrologers. Some of these know Sanskrit, folks, or have studied from Indians in India, you know. But also I know Indian astrologers and our practitioners of Indian astrology who are not Indian by nationality. And again, those that use the Parashara branch, the most famous branch, folks, they don't even know about the mid-heaven, the 10th quadrant house cusp, the intersection of the ecliptic and the meridian. They don't even know about it. I've tried to tell them, they disregard it. I tell them, folks, take a look at least at the nakshatra or the fixed star there. They don't even use it. Although I should say that this modern branch of Indian astrology called Krishnamurti, they use Placidus. They use quadrant houses, they use Placidus, and he said that he discovered some weaknesses in the whole sign house system, especially in the case of twins, and he could not explain the difference in lives of twins, and he came up with an ingenious system called sublords. And he was very famous for his predictions. He was predicting when a train was late, when it would arrive, or when the electricity was out, when the electricity would be turned back on. Krishnamurti Padhati. Let's see, but so this is this is a North Indian chart. Again, this is the same medieval chart that we have, but they put the ascendant here. We put it here on the east. Again, this is a South Indian chart, the traditional Indian chart, because North India was attacked by Muslims, etc. They took a lot of, you know, the Tajika, the Persian Arabic astrology, etc. This, which is why, okay. So this is the end, and also in now in Chinese astrology, there are 3 types of Chinese astrology. I practice 2 of them, but I will. The third type is the most advanced type. It's called Zivei Doshu, or Emperor astrology. And what is interesting is that they have what we call houses in modern terms are better called places. You know, topos, topoi in Greek. And the Chinese themselves, take a look. The Chinese themselves, they call them palaces, the 12 palaces. And you will notice these are the meanings. Most of them are similar to the meanings of the 12 houses in ancient astrology. But take a look at the chart, the type of chart, which is again this South Indian chart. You know, so again, they did not. A given palace is either a given animal, a given earth branch, to use the proper terminology, or it's not. So there is no place for astronomy here, so to say. There is, we're using the 12 branches. So this is whole science. You don't even have another choice. It's just that. A given palace is either the parents or happiness. It's not. There is no mixture. There is no intercepted palaces, etc. There is no such thing. And obviously, as Chris Brennan quoted, I apologize, I don't remember the name of this remarkable scholar. He knows some Japanese and some Chinese. Chris Brennan interviewed him on his astrology podcast, and he says that ancient astrology, Dorotheus, etc., was transmitted to China and Japan in the 9th century, and that again he showed charts. Chris Brennan in his video, he showed charts whole sign houses. Again, coming from a scholar who knows these indigenous languages. And again, this Chris Brennan also showed in his video about, let me show you, about 158. Yes, this scholar, he Ali is his surname, he's Arabic, and he's a scholar who knows Arabic. And as he showed himself and said himself, from Mashallah, Al-Kindi, etc., all the way to the 18th century, whole sign houses were the vast majority of charts. Not just in, he also said Mongol charts and two other types of regions that I did not know. But you can look it up here. This passage, like 2-3 minutes. Again, Chris Brennan also interviewed this scholar 2-3 years ago. So again, a scholar knowing Arabic. Not some astrologer who does not know ancient languages and who is making this such wild and bombastic statements that again that are so easily refuted. And let's see. Yes, I should. This is not a matter of, but let me say for I myself, I was taught quadrant houses and whole sign houses by Robert Zoller, and increasingly I started again with the translations of Benjamin Dykes that I showed and how the ancient astrologers were using. And there is also the chart of. I've shown this chart in my. Don't remember. I think it was in my. Video about the zodiacs, or my video about anyhow, I can't remember. I'm not sure right now, but I showed the chart of a Byzantine emperor of the 10th century and how they were reading his chart. 10th century folks, Byzantine emperor. And again, they were using Ptolemy overwhelmingly, and I believe also somewhat Dorotheus, but they were using whole sign houses. And again, the chart itself was, again, I believe also that Levente Laszlo translated also this chart. This chart was also translated by, I think, David Pingree or some other scholar. And again, you can again look at the actual charts and how they were reading them. Yeah. So. Let's see. Yes, and in my courses, let me say that again, I'm not just I'm also teaching, and this does not mean that I disregard the angles, the axial degrees. Far from it. In both my courses, I'm the author of the only rectification course in the West that teaches 24-hour rectification, and again. You have to use when you and Valens says this in book 4 on perfections, that again where the midheaven falls and the IC falls, it makes a difference when it falls in the 11th place or the 9th place. It makes a difference. You combine the meanings. And again, here in this tutorial also on Valens, it's important. So this is not about denigrating quadrant houses. No, far from it. Again, and it's not about that. And again, there is a reason why I'm drawing my chart this way with Delphic Oracle. Take a look. I want to see the quadrant houses also here, or the medieval view, and the Hellenistic view showing the whole signs, But there is a reason for this. Again, it's not, that's not the purpose of the video. I mean, neither Chris Brennan nor others have said that quadrant houses are are nonsense, that should be abandoned, etc., etc. That's not the point. The point is, refuting and debunking her. Deborah Houlding's, claim that ancient, that whole sign houses did not exist. And again, you can also look up. The Definitions and Foundations book, translated by Robert Schmidt, and where he quotes, Nehepso and Timaeus, on the places, on the two systems of places conducive to business, the good houses and the places conducive to business. Again, Zoidia, images, whole sign houses are explicitly mentioned, when speaking about this. So I think I showed you everything. Again, the Horror Project, I strongly recommend astrologers to subscribe and to because it's so few translators are left, and we have to keep abreast of what is being discovered, etc., etc. And again, it's and let me criticize, because let me criticize these astrologers, especially those astrologers that are older in years and that they began with Lily. We call them Lilists here, that are they did not bother to upgrade and to improve their knowledge, and they basically ignored the past 20 years or 30 years, because again, due to Project Hindsight and Benjamin Dykes and James Holden and Giuseppe Bezza and etc., etc., and now Levente Laszlo and Rumen Kolev has translated a few books, and now we are getting a much more complete picture of what ancient astrology looked like, and concepts that are incomplete or that are misrepresentations. They should be acknowledged. And again, if the adjustment should be made, because again, obviously this is not a video about what works, so to say, but this is as a professional astrologer, this is what I'm concerned with. But the point is that these astrologers, they're stuck in the 1980s or 1990s, and many of them, they still call the lots Arabic parts, which is it's preposterous. The lots, they existed 1,000 years before the Arabs. So, and many of them do not reverse the lot of fortune, and or the Italians that that the Italian school of Bezza, that they use Ptolemy overwhelmingly. They're so much influenced by Ptolemy that they're like slaves to Ptolemy, or like Deborah Houlding and the others. They're slaves to Lily. William Lily. Well, folks, I mean, William Lily, and again, I don't want to, but Benjamin Dykes, when he translated the book, the Horary Bible, the Book of Nine Judges, he also said that William Lilly had access to some of these materials, to some of these authors, and possibly I may be misinterpreting here, but he may have not divulged this he may not have, because Lilly, it is known that Lilly he does not always give credit to the astrologers that he uses. But anyhow, the point is that our art, our science is, it's growing. New discoveries are being made, and we should we should not be stuck. We should be flexible, and we should be responsible in what we are saying and what we are doing, because again, the ancient astrologers are living testament to this, because how many of them knew or hoped or relied that their work would survive through the centuries and even millennia. So what we do and what we say remains on the record, and again, should be careful with that, because we can mislead many people, and in many cases it's an error. And this reminds me of of the saying, an error doesn't become a mistake until there is a refusal to correct it. But in some cases it's deliberate sabotage. It's playing dirty games, playing the victim, and it's really inadmissible to do this by someone who, again, as Deborah Houlding, who is again internationally recognized astrologer, lecturing in different countries, etc., etc. I'm not myself. I don't go to conferences. I'm a private. I have a separate. My chart is, my horoscope is different. My horoscope is not of a public person. But my point is again, we should be careful. And let me close by saying that everything obviously that happens on Earth happens also is prefigured in a way by the planets and the houses, etc. And it's funny that because when you look at how passionate she is arguing, I mean, there's something that's triggering Deborah Houlding to do this, and because again, her chart is public knowledge, and so is Chris Brennan's. And what is interesting is that Deborah Houlding, she has she's in a first place here, and she has Mars in the in the 10th house natally, and hence in the perfected 10th. And Chris Brennan is in a third place here, ruled by Mars, and he has Mars in the perfected 10th. So we have Mars against Mars in the perfected 10th this year. And of course, talking about astrological year, because in Deborah Houlding she has the Sun in Taurus, and Brennan has the Sun in Scorpio. But anyhow, this is, so there is a reason for this of intensification of this and culmination of these arguments. And also, if you check Deborah's chart, she has Mars transiting Lord of the Ascendant. Mars transiting Mercury, which is the dispositor of the Lord of her Ascendant. But anyhow, this, let's see, do I have something to add? Yes. So please check the sources for yourself. If you want to watch the videos, I recommend that. By the way, Chris Brennan's video, he basically played the whole video of Deborah Houlding in order to thoroughly examine what arguments she was making and to refute them by showing sources, etc., and quoting other astrologers. And but I recommend both, if so that it would be as neutral as possible. Again, although again, as I've showed, I mean, we have so much proof, that so many sources, that so many languages, so many traditions, that it's it's either a beginner's mistake or it's a sinister agenda being pursued here. Dimitar Kojuharov, again, the coronation, Gruzinev, Robert Zoller himself, and the Horoscope project. So this is what I wanted to share. I hope you found it instructional. This is my channel, Ancient in Chinese Astrology. If you'd like to subscribe, I would appreciate it. If you have a comment or a question, I'll leave them below. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.